Well, breaking this evening, Morgan McSweeney has resigned as Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff in the wake of the Mandelson scandal. And guess what? I did today, because you know I love to go out and meet real people. I went out to the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer's constituency, to see what people really think about this scandal embroiling Westminster. I'm here in Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister's constituency. I'm going to be asking people whether they think the Prime Minister should resign. Of course, he's embroiled in the Peter Mandelson scandal. I'm going to be showing people pictures of the Prime Minister, asking them what they think of him, whether he should go now or whether they think actually he should stay. What do you think of the Prime Minister? Keir Starmer, this guy here.
He's a sausage.
He's a sausage. This is his constituency. This is where he represents. Do you think he should resign?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think there's better people that we could bring in.
Didn't like him when I voted for him, can't stand him.
This is his constituency we're in here, St Pancras, of course. He represents local people around here. But obviously he's in the press every day at the moment for this Peter Mandelson scandal. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't understand why I agreed to let him be. He can try and pass the blame to someone else, but to be honest, he's the bloke that should take the fall.
Do you think he should resign?
I think he should have resigned a long time ago.
Is there any Labour politician that you think could be a good Prime Minister?
No, I don't like any of them. Yeah. There's no one in politics that I really would vote for anywhere.
Personally think the decision was of Cabinet, and his prior Prime Minister as well took the same information. I think Mandelson seems like a very upright individual for a lot of people.
I don't believe that. Yeah.
What do you?
Very sarcastically, of
Well,
course.
the very fact that he's linked to Epstein files is not very good for me. I'm Australian and we dislike Trump and the whole thing extraordinarily.
Yeah.
And we're amazed even that you kind of have a relationship with Trump.
I think always someone will take the fall.
Keir Starmer's obviously in a bit of trouble with the Lord Mandelson scandal. Do you think he should resign over
Oh,
it?
he's got to do, but he won't do. There's no chance he will resign, but he should resign. That Mandelson, Jesus, unbelievable.
Is there any Labour politicians that you think could do the job of Prime Minister better?
No, they're all as bad, really, aren't they? I mean, who would you get? We're from
No
York.
Angela Rayner?
No, God, no. She's resigned once, that's enough. No, there's nobody. They've got to go, all of them.
What do you think of the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer?
Seriously, I think he's made a bit of a mess of the current situation, and he's obviously underestimated the problems of one or two people in the United States. But if I was the Prime Minister in that sort of complex situation, I'd have made similar sorts of mistakes. So I don't blame him overwhelmingly for what's happened, but it seems very likely that they are going to throw him out from the Labour Party.
And so he shouldn't resign?
I think he should wait his time, and I think a successor may well come up, but he certainly shouldn't. The party most certainly shouldn't hurry the whole thing, because that's exactly what the Conservative Party wants.
And I'm sure not all they do is bad. It's just not working. What they're trying just isn't working. So I don't know the answers, but it ain't what we're getting. Reform seems very popular, but I don't know enough about it to make an educated decision on that at the moment. But they all lie, so who knows?
I think the Prime Minister himself should go as well. I think this is like typical of Keir Starmer to put the blame on like one of his aides when it was him. So he's obviously received like the security briefings on Mandelson. The buck should stop with him and he should resign himself.
Yeah, was the apology not enough for you?
No, the apology is not enough. Also because the apology came after he tried to hide behind process. I watched the Prime Minister's questions this week, and he tried to, like, his first port of call was to say we have to go through a process with the, in terms of like reviewing what was under, like, sensitive to national security, tried to stop it being sent to the Security Committee and tried to get the Cabinet Secretary to review it, which is the Cabinet Secretary reports into him. So the fact that the sorry comes after he tried to hide behind that and tried to avoid responsibility makes I think Labour and Tories are both completely finished. I don't think there's any talent in Parliament at all, particularly in the Labour Party. I think ideally they would resign and call an election so we could have someone new, but I don't think they will do that. I think they'll grip onto power as long as they can. They're totally disconnected from their roots and a lot of their electoral base, and they talk to each other and other metropolitan elites rather than addressing the needs of the country. Keir Starmer represents the metropolitan elite and not the people of the UK.
It's absolutely damning stuff, isn't it? It's so hard to find somebody in Keir Starmer's own constituency where he represents his area of St Pancras that was willing to go on record and say they supported him and they thought he was doing a good job. That is, it's incredible, isn't it? And this is heart of liberal London. We were really struggling. We were really, really struggling.
There's nothing more important than keeping you and your loved ones safe online. With so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. And with their Valentine's Day sale, this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. It's the easiest way to stay safe online, protect your money, and save big for less than £2 a month. Click the link in the video's description or scan the QR code today.
Let's go to my panel to get their thoughts on what they've heard from the British public today. Not us, the British public. Journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, academic and broadcaster Lisa Mackenzie are all here. Adam, I'll start with you. A real broad range from young lads we saw at the start there, 21, 22 they told me they were, all the way through to an older generation. But the broad strokes, apart from the odd dissenting voice, was that they just want him gone. They want the Prime Minister to go.
He's the most hated Prime Minister of my lifetime. I keep saying it. Everyone I speak to, whether they're left, right or centre, despises the man. His polls, his personal polls show that. He's so far away from any of us, we cannot connect with him. He's got no personality, that monotone, soulless voice. Labour, if they want to survive, need to get rid of him very, very quickly because they're going to be fourth in the polls across the board very, very soon.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not just what Labour are doing to the British public. It's this man. And he's the face of a crumbling Labour.
Yeah, Lisa, I'll come over to you. Is there any redeeming qualities now that the Prime Minister has come to an arrangement? Obviously, they said it was a mutual discussion and agreement that Morgan McSweeney would leave his office as Chief of Staff. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, this government is flying by light speed levels of dilapidation. It wasn't that long ago we would talk about Sue Gray going.
Yeah, no one cares about these figures, actually.
Yeah.
No one out in the British public, no one actually cares about this stuff. And what you've just seen from you going out into that constituency is the British public are politically educated, and this is something that the political elites sort of shout all the time. They don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're saying. They don't understand, but they do understand. And figures like Morgan McSweeney or Sue Gray, they're not important. What is important is cost of living, healthcare, education, housing,
immigration. Don't forget the big one.
I was going to say immigration as well. All of that is what people care about, and none of that is on the agenda.
Yeah, is this what it is? Linda, it's a failure not only of the agenda that people actually want to see things delivered, the things like smashing the gangs. Well, Rishi Sunak ended up smashing more gangs, as far as we're aware, than this government did, in at least its first year in office. The legal migration crisis is at its highest ever since Keir Starmer, of course, has come into office. All the things they promised you, no tax increases. Well, we know that's stealth by the back door. These tax rises have happened across Britain. No winter fuel reversals. That all happened time and time again. I think people have just felt, what is the point of this government?
But we now have in front of us what is the worst political scandal of my lifetime. This is worse, I believe, even than the Profumo scandal of decades ago. It has cut through in a way which is so clear with the general public. It's not a question of going into the nitty-gritty of the dates and who did this and who did that. In general, the British public has made up its mind that it does not want to be led by someone with no moral compass and no regard to ethical behaviour, at least in a way that seems obvious to me. The fact is, this scandal has cut through, and the fact is that it won't do any good for Morgan McSweeney to resign because he is the advisor, and heavy the head that wears the crown. The leader has to go, because that's what being a leader is about. It is no good saying the advisor was wrong, because ultimately the decision maker has to carry the can.
When Boris Johnson was in office, Adam, the Prime Minister at the time, of course, was going through the scandal with Dominic Cummings, and Keir Starmer said the buck stops with the Prime Minister, or they're sort of around those sort of words in one way or another. Why does the buck not stop with him now?
Exactly. I quote tweeted Keir Starmer today. Obviously, I wasn't going to let him off that one. You said this was the biggest political scandal. I disagree with you for once. The grooming gangs and the rape gangs is the biggest political scandal.
I would say that's a criminal
But what the thing is, Labour are up to their necks in
all
both.
of it.
So Lord Glasman, the Labour peer today, said on a rival TV channel, he said, New Labour leads to perversion and paedophilia. That is what the average man and woman on the street believe, that this is a really seedy and corrupt party that lets down children and gives cover to child abusers. And that is what people look at Labour at now.
Is there any defence here, Lisa, in the sense that you know, that is the view of many people, Adam. I'm sure of it. Is there any defence in saying that, you know what, at least they started a national grooming gangs inquiry? Previous government never bothered, 14 years, and then they're out pointing fingers. Is there any saving grace there, at least for them to be able to say, you know what, we're doing something about the rape gang scandal, more so than any government's done in the recent past?
No, there's nothing. There's no saving. And the reason why there isn't is because they've got a massive majority. They could have come in, they're 18 months in, the things that they could have done to change the country with that majority, and they have done nothing. The only thing they have done is make people's lives worse, demonise working class people. And what I would say is what this scandal has done, it's absolutely rocked the whole of the top tier. It's not just Labour. They're all going to feel it now.
The real point here is that our Prime Minister has put some kind of risk calculation first in order, he believes, to put someone over into America who can do trade negotiations and business negotiations better than other people, because he's a Trump whisperer, ahead of the health and the safety and the futures and the lives of girls, literally underage and all over the world. That is truly shocking.
And this is the problem, isn't it? Because people, we've all been talking about this, people draw the connection. They go, well, we've got the rape gang, the Pakistani rape gang scandal on one end of things, and then we've got the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, which is in some way attached to Peter Mandelson now because of his relationship with him. I'm not accusing him of any wrongdoing or being involved in it, but there is a connection people make in their heads, and they go, is this the party that thinks that this is acceptable?
That's what I'm saying.
A huge problem, isn't it?
And I think this is where we are now. What this has done, it's shone a light on the whole rotten mess of it, on all of it. And I think the Tories won't get away with it as well. I think they have actually been shown up as part of this nasty elite privilege. The royal family are part of this. You know, what this has done now is the whole rotten lot of it, and the British public, at least, are looking at this and going, no more now, not for me.
Right, can I just read something to you, Adam? Go on. This infuriated me when I heard this. Morgan McSweeney resigned, of course, because, you know, this is part of his failure too, and he's admitted that in his letter. In response, the Prime Minister said this: it's been an honour working with Morgan McSweeney for many years. It's largely thanks to his dedication, loyalty and leadership that we won a landslide majority and have the chance to change the country. I mean, what an utterly absurd, tone-deaf, stupid thing to say, to thank the man that's going to bring down this government potentially, Adam. How tone-deaf are these people?
Keir Starmer made the decision, OK? Ministers enact decisions, advisors just advise. Keir Starmer, if he was a strong leader, would have sacked McSweeney for the bad advice, if that is the situation. He has no balls as a Prime Minister. He has no clue about the country and what the state is at the bottom end of this country. He needs to resign. And everyone I speak to, I was in the pub today, it was a busy day in my pub, and everyone said he's got to go. And when I said to him, look, things are going to get worse, you've got to expect, and look, the people that are going to take over, I believe, are going to be worse. But at the end of the day, things have to get worse before they get better. And for him going is one leg of the table kicked away, and then we need one more and it will fall.
Linda, I want to get your reaction to this clip of Mike Tapp, of course, a government minister.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But I do know that Keir Starmer's a good man. I do know that he means it when he apologises. And I also know that he's working hard with Jess Phillips, for example, to ensure that we reduce violence against women and girls and make the country safer for them. So I trust the Prime Minister on this, and I'm confident that when these files are released, the public will agree with that.
I'm utterly speechless. Utterly speechless at anyone who could conceive that was any kind of adequate soundbite. That's the MP for Dover, isn't it, Mike Tapp? Now, that is so ridiculous. To say that he believes him, well, he probably is sorry now. I mean, let's face it. Who wouldn't be in his position?
Well, Morgan McSweeney was sacked, right?
But McSweeney is Peter Mandelson's protege.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think they don't know. They actually don't know. That's what I get the feeling they actually don't know. Lord Glassman today actually did say, the truth is, Starmer, before all this, might not have even known who Epstein was. And that sounds astounding. But I think they are so remote.
I don't buy it personally. But let me put this to you because
I think they're so remote, they don't actually understand.
Pat McFadden, the Work and Pension Secretary, was defending this bloke in the TV rounds this morning. So there's no point whatsoever of getting rid of him. And then a few hours. It's a complete circus.
It is a circus, but let's remember, apparently McSweeney is this amazing advisor. He's been advising Keir Starmer since the election and has seen their polling ratings go from 30-odd down to like 15 or 16%. He has advised a Prime Minister that is now the most hated Prime Minister of my lifetime. This guy clearly is not as good as what they say he is. In fact, I would say he's diabolical and they need new advisors.
Linda, the other charge here as well is, if you recall back, there was calls by Labour MPs and commentators saying that they were creating a boys' club in Westminster. That wouldn't have helped when you're looking at vetting that looks at a man like Peter Mandelson, and I read a litany out of his scandals the other night, and any normal person, if you're hiring this bloke for a job and you go, he was sacked here, there's some questionable things that happened here, not you've done anything illegal, but you're not the sort of person I really want working in this, this Puritan government that I've promised people.
That's right. Now, I've interviewed Peter Mandelson. I've spent the day trying to get an interview that when I got there, he refused to do because I wasn't Sir Trevor McDonald, who was the anchor of the programme, and he was just left with me. Eventually, I persuade him to do the interview, and he is really, really difficult. And I'm not joking. To me, it was really obvious that he was arrogant and a narcissist, and he behaved in a really bad way. This is a man, and the story, just by the by, was about fair trade. This is a man who did not care about the story, but cared about his photo opportunity with a famous person. And that went on and on and on. And we are left with this.
Just talking about the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, have a look at this.
I think the Prime Minister's acted in good faith throughout. I think Peter Mandelson has put him in a very bad position. When more information came to light last September, he very quickly fired Peter Mandelson. He's horrified by the revelations of the past week. He's apologised to the victims of this, and rightly so. So I think, we will see more when all these vetting documents are published, as I hope they are very soon.
The vetting documents now, Lisa. It's the next part of the process. You've got to wait for that.
Yeah, I think we've got to have some sympathy with these Labour MPs that have been sent out and saying defend this, because they're looking at this going, oh my God, what are we doing? I mean, every time one of them...
Why don't they resign, Lisa? If it's really that bad, use your moral conscience, do what you told the Tories to do with Boris Johnson and show your backbone and resign, but they won't do it.
No, they won't do it because the party for them is bigger, isn't it? This is the problem.
country, is
This
it?
is the problem with party politics.
The opposite to what Starmer promised us after the election. He said he would put the country before party. They're doing the opposite. It's embarrassing, it's damaging, and he has to go.
It is failing the country. That is it. That is what your job is to do, is to serve the British people. All right, look, Lord Mandelson, of course, has previously denied any wrongdoing in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, stating this: "I was never culpable or complicit in his crimes. Like everyone else, I learned the actual truth about him after his death." He added that he had relied on assurances of his innocence that turned out later to be horrendously false.